On March 8th, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. 3 days ago, after more than 4 years, the search for the plane was called off, probably permanently. Do you have any idea, like, whatever happened to the plane and possibly where it is today?
You're aware there are certain regions in your world, yes, like you're, for example, the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Right.
It didn't end up in the Bermuda Triangle, but you have various energetic imbalances in your world that are natural, like your global warming, for example, where you think your general imbalance in energy coming from your species, and to a certain degree you create your reality, but you're also interacting with the consciousness of the planet that's upgrading itself, and therefore also creating those imbalances. Obviously, some in your own species are also tinkering with energy, influencing those fields, yes. For example, the Montauk Project was one such. Not that this relates directly to this, but there's various experiments. Also, the Soviet Union conducted many of such. The base from the Western region conducted many of such. It's more common to associate the United States cartels with those ideas, but many groups on your planet, particularly also the Chinese, in the perhaps more recent past, were getting in on this, so to speak, and you're creating all of kind of energetic imbalances, therefore teleporting something to another place. Yes, something like this happened with the plane. There was also a war-like scenario, like a conflict, but from what we're aware, it simply ended up where perhaps it would not be considered where it wasn't supposed to be. Let's put it that way. It's not like it's forever lost, but from your current reality perspective, you will likely not find it. You would have to shift to another reality where it can re-emerge. But for example, it happens much more often. It's just not televised, so to speak, because it doesn't become public as it happened in this case.
There have been a few pieces of the plane that have like washed up on various beaches. So, I mean, did the plane crash or did it just disappear?
It was dissolved.
Can you elaborate?
We're looking, for example, from the vessel's mind. We're finding one moment. The Philadelphia Project, you're aware of this term, yes?
Yes, with the naval ship?
Yes. The same way it was basically teleported somewhere else where it didn't belong.
Interesting. So are you saying it just sort of accidentally flew into like a wormhole or a portal or something?
Not necessarily a portal. It didn't just fly through something that wasn't the air. And more energy that was being distributed, that an energetic field interfered with the plane. The same way some spacesuits have crashed. Some of those are more voluntarily, some are deliberately brought down with such fields. Others simply were shot at with energetic weaponry, deliberately creating a field around the craft. For example, some planes that crashed also near Roswell region were brought down deliberately with weaponry using similar technology. In this case, was more of you consider an accident that interfered with the plane, but nonetheless, it was what you consider perhaps higher technology where you're currently coming from. It wasn't shot at with a rocket or something like this.
I see.
It simply reappeared energetic in another place in space and time.
So where is the plane right now? Do you know like where its wreckage is? Is it on the bottom of the ocean somewhere?
It's possible. We're fully aware that every individual member who was on the plane currently is. People could have been scattered, yes, torn apart, or simply reappeared somewhere else.
Is it possible any of them are still alive today?
Unlikely. Remember, there are countless versions, yes, of your time and space, depending where you currently are. And obviously, the reality you currently created is one where the plane simply disappeared from your currently physical 3D, and parts of it reappeared somewhere else in your physical 3D. The simple example that we mentioned previously is when you're looking from a 3D perspective at an ant hill, and taking an ant out of the hill and putting it on the ground somewhere else. For the rest of the ant disappeared and reappeared somewhere else, like it was teleported. Yes? If you take the ant perspective as a second-dimensional perspective, because they don't look up and down to the same degree, yes? So when you look at this from a fourth dimensional perspective, you take something out of third dimension and put it somewhere else in the third dimension, making a movement through the force. But from a third dimensional perspective, it looks like it disappears and reappears somewhere else. But there are infinite versions in the third dimensional possibility. You quantum physics learns to understand this much further than you're publicly sharing. And therefore, in your military circles, they're also experimenting with such energies. So it's not like we shot a plane down, or somebody else shot a plane down, or we're experimenting with your plane. It's your members of your own governments that had certain experiments in the regions with energetic fields in which the plane then just disappeared in, scattered, torn apart, reappeared somewhere else. So it could be possible some of the people on the plane reappeared somewhere else where I would still be alive, but the version of reality that you're currently looking at from your currently reality experience is not where any of them is alive. But again, it's just another version. There's also another version where you already have a third world war started by North Korea, for example. It doesn't seem like your current timeline is the one you're on. Yes? There's also one where the Soviet Union still exists, just as an example, yes?
Right. Okay, well, yeah, that's been a big aviation mystery. So thanks for at least answering that to some degree. I mean, obviously you just raised a lot more questions, but yeah, I think I have the general idea of what you're saying. So okay, thank you.
In our opinion, it's more important for your species to understand how dimensionality functions than you can give the answers to yourself. Yes?
Right.